Please, listen closely, my friends, listen to me now. My name is Jonathan, and I am here today as a warning. I was the successful son, the big man, who looked at my dying mother, Amanda, and told her the roads were too rough for me to come home. Can you believe that? I thought my career was absolutely everything. I paid the ultimate, terrible price. 15 years I lost, locked away in prison. My sister nearly died, and the entire life I built, it crumbled to ash, instantly. Before I continue, my dear friends, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button, like, and share this video with your loved ones. Your support means the world to me. Thank you so much. This is the heartbreaking truth about what happens when you break the sacred law, honor your mother. If you are currently taking your parents' love for granted, please, this story is for you. I am a man redeemed, and I learned a painful truth. A mother's tear is more expensive than any gold you will ever earn. Settle in. This is my testimony. Hello my amazing friends. Settle in, because this story is my truth, and it's a difficult one to share. My name is Jonathan, and I am 45 years old. I am the son who learned the hardest, most devastating lesson imaginable. My mother, Amanda, was the best of us. A widow who poured every drop of her blood and sweat into raising me and my sister, Bella, she's 42 now. We were poor, but Mama gave us a wealth of heart and discipline. She worked day and night, swallowing insults from others who looked down on a widow. She carried invisible burdens, the financial stress, the endless worry, all just to see us stand tall, educated, and successful. She was our rock, our only hope, and we repaid her sacrifice with cruelty. Bella and I made it. We flew out of the dust and into the bright lights of a foreign land. I was a structural engineer, pulling down a massive salary, and Bella was climbing the corporate ladder in finance. We were living the high life, the very success Mama dreamed of. We had the good roads, the reliable electricity, the expensive apartments. We thought we had escaped the village forever, and in doing so, we had also forgotten where we came from. We bought into the lie that distance equaled sophistication, and that success meant forgetting the struggle. We were too busy building our lives to remember the person who gave us life. Then, Mama fell sick. The village called us, not once, but repeatedly. They begged us to come home, to see her one last time. I remember the call from Miss Elizabeth, her voice shaking, confirming Mama was now bedridden and fading fast. But I was too important. I had a massive project to deliver. My life was too complicated. I remember the words I spoke, the cold, calculated words that now haunt my sleep. I cannot risk my career for a village trip. The roads are too rough for my car, and there is no reliable electricity for me to work on my laptop. I will never care her medication, but coming home is impossible. Bella agreed with me. We were a united front in our abandonment. 3 months later, Mama died alone. Bella and I didn't go home for the burial. We made excuses, and stayed abroad, enjoying ourselves. We thought we had handled the situation efficiently, and that the distance shielded us from the guilt. I want to pause here. This is the core of the lesson I learned in prison. It's a verse I thought I knew, but I threw away. Ephesians 6:1-3. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with a promise, so that it may go well with you and that you may enjoy long life on the earth. I violated that promise. I dishonored my mother. And what followed was not long life or well-being. It was swift, devastating destruction. My downfall started small, like a simple engine sputter. I was juggling 3 high-stress jobs a day, always rushing, always on edge. The inner turmoil I refused to acknowledge started manifesting as severe memory loss and distraction. I would leave a critical blueprint unsigned. I would miss vital, pre-scheduled conference calls. I tried to dismiss it as burnout, but deep down, the feeling was spiritual. The first sign that I was losing my mind, the thing I relied on most, was terrifying. Then came the first catastrophic moment. Due to my negligence and distraction, I forgot a crucial safety procedure on a major project. My error almost caused a massive explosion and fire at one of the energy companies I consulted for. Lives could have been lost. The moment they figured out the negligence was mine, they didn't hesitate. They didn't care about my past achievements. They fired me immediately, and my reputation in that specialized sector was instantly ruined. The first job, gone. But the curse was just getting started. Losing that job didn't humble me, it made me bitter. The suppressed guilt of abandoning my mother poisoned my mind, turning into uncontrollable rage. I was angry at the world, at Bella, and most of all, at the defeated man I saw in the mirror. I started taking on odd, desperate contract work, drinking heavily, and my temper became a live wire. Then, one fateful evening, it happened. I was at a restaurant, a stupid argument erupted over a small bill. I lost all sense of reality. For no reason, for a few meaningless words, I grabbed a bottle. I broke it over another man's head. My people, I just saw red. I lost all control. The man collapsed, bleeding badly. The sheer horror of what I had done finally broke through the rage. But it was too late. The police came. They found me, took me from my apartment, and the world went dark. I was convicted and sentenced. I spent 15 long, cold years behind those dark, gray prison walls. 15 years of concrete, bars, and endless, crushing regret. I lost my career, my freedom, and my youth. The punishment was total. I suffered more than Job in the Bible, but Job was innocent. I was guilty. I spent those years thinking only of my mother, realizing every single day that the cost of my arrogance was every minute I spent locked away. The shame was a physical disease. While I was locked up, my sister Bella was also paying the price. She hadn't committed a violent crime, but the spiritual burden of our mother's death was too heavy for her. Her health collapsed entirely. She didn't end up in prison, but she ended up in a clean, brightly lit hell, the hospital. She suffered silently, battling chronic, mysterious illnesses that defied diagnosis. It was the same vague sickness that took our mother, but now it was consuming Bella. I was released after 15 years, a broken, defeated man. I soon learned the devastating truth about Bella. She had already spent 8 years in that hospital bed. The doctors, unable to treat the spiritual malady, had given her a red card. They had essentially declared her case terminal. We were paying the price in full. I lost my freedom, and she lost her health. Both of us, the highly successful siblings, were utterly ruined. I returned to my country with nothing. No money, no job, no home, nothing at all. I was 45 years old and starting from zero, carrying the weight of 15 lost years and the deep shame of a criminal record. I came back to the village. I remember that day. The road I had scorned, the rough, dusty road, was waiting for me. I walked, a shell of the man who flew out years ago, praying no one would recognize me. The first place I went was our old family house. It was crowded with people, relatives, neighbors, people I barely knew. I was confused, and the grief finally hit me. I cried bitterly, remembering my late mother, Amanda. But the crowd wasn't a welcome party. The whispering stopped the moment I walked in. The villagers gathered around me, their faces hard and unforgiving. They didn't offer a hand, they offered a curse. They looked at my defeated face, and they started shouting, their voices unified in condemnation. This is the beginning of your suffering for what you both did to your mother. You abandoned her, now let the suffering abandon you. They condemned me publicly. Their words were sharp knives, confirming everything I already felt. I deserved it. My people, we suffered a suffering I never knew existed. Bella was still weak in the city hospital, and I was homeless and despised in the village. Nobody helped the man who had despised them. To eat was a very big problem. I was the rich man who had come home a pauper. Some villagers even tried to send me away, saying my bad luck polluted the air. Our king, the true elder of the land, showed a flicker of mercy. He refused to let the villagers chase us out completely. He allowed us to stay, but the punishment was clear. We would live in poverty until our mother's spirit was satisfied. I also learned that, in their initial righteous anger, the community had sold a significant portion of our small family land to cover Mama's massive hospital bills and burial costs that we had refused to fully pay. I had nothing left to call mine. My heritage was gone. I had to survive. I, the engineer, the man who designed skyscrapers, started pushing a barrow around the village, begging for small work, fetching water, carrying wood, anything. My hands, which used to calculate stress loads on high rises, were now blistered and rough. I pushed that barrow all day just so I could earn enough coins to buy a small meal for myself and maybe something basic for Bella at the hospital. Every step I pushed that barrow was a physical, exhausting reminder of my past arrogance. I was working harder for crumbs than I ever worked for millions. I would look at the good, paved roads outside the village and weep, remembering why I refused to come home. I pushed the barrow in the sun, feeling the invisible burdens my mother used to carry. I realized her sacrifice was heavier than any physical load I could push. The shame and physical exhaustion were unbearable. One night, I was sleeping alone in the dusty, empty house. I was tired, hungry, and utterly hopeless. I cried until my entire body shook. I prayed, not for money, but for death. I felt like I had nothing left to live for. The guilt was suffocating me. Then, something happened. I fell into a deep sleep, and my mother, Amanda, appeared in my dream. She looked exactly as she did before the sickness, but her eyes were filled with unshed tears. She looked profoundly sad. I tried to apologize, but she silenced me with a gentle lift of her hand. She said, "My children, Jonathan and Bella, is this the pain you want me to carry? I cannot rest while you suffer this way." She wasn't angry. She was sorrowful. She wasn't punishing me. She was showing me the way out of my self-made hell. She gave me the clear, final solution: go to my grave and cry. Beg me for forgiveness so my spirit will rest in peace, and you can finally be free." And then, she was gone. I woke up, shaking and sweating, but with a strange, immediate sense of purpose. I rushed to the hospital, told a weak Bella the dream, and despite her frailty, she agreed immediately. The next morning, my sister and I went straight to Amanda's grave under the old mango tree. We wailed. We poured out 15 years of guilt, shame, and agony into that red soil. We begged her to forgive us from morning till evening. God bless all mothers. The love we received that day was a miracle. Just 5 days later, a miracle happened. I was back pushing my barrow, covered in sweat and dust, when my phone, my cheap, old phone, rang. It was the CEO of the company I had almost ruined years ago. He said he had been thinking about me and asked what happened to me after I left. I stopped pushing the barrow. I explained everything. I told him about my mother, the curse, the 15 years in prison, and my desperate life now. I hid nothing. He listened quietly, and then he said, "Jonathan, I believe you. Your mother's love is real." Immediately, he sent a large amount of money for me and Bella. It was enough for Bella's immediate transfer to a specialized hospital, and for us to get a new, honest start. Bella finally started recovering. I worked for 2 years, not for ambition, but for honor. I saved every penny. I bought back the land that was sold and built a beautiful house on the remaining plot. I promised my mother I would tell this story, and I honor that promise today. I built the Amanda's Honor Foundation to help widows, because I know the exact, painful burden a mother carries for her children. Listen closely to this final word, my friends, and never forget it. The life you live is not determined by your connections or your salary, it is determined by your obedience to the sacred laws of the heart. I learned that my career, my freedom, and my long life were all tied to the honor of my mother. The size of your bank account means nothing if your heart is empty. The greatest title you will ever wear is honorable son or honorable daughter. Your mother's tears are more expensive than any gold you will ever earn. Please, if you have a parent, pick up that phone. Don't wait for your own life to fall apart. Honor them today, so that it may go well with you, and that you may enjoy long life on the earth. Thank you for listening. The lesson is simple but powerful. Children, honor your parents, especially your mother. She gave you life, nurtured you, and sacrificed so much that you may never fully understand. A mother's love is not just care, it is protection, guidance, and a force that shapes your future. Never take her love for granted. Ignore her, and life may teach you harsh lessons through regret, suffering, and heartache. But love her, respect her, and care for her while she is still alive, and blessings will follow you in ways you cannot imagine. Remember, a mother's tear is more precious than gold, and her forgiveness brings peace to your soul. Honor your mother, treasure her, and let her love guide your steps in life. Thank you so much for watching this African tale. Tell me, where are you watching from? Please drop your thoughts in the comment section, I'd really love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring African stories. And always remember, love, faith, and courage are the greatest treasures you can ever have. God bless you all. Bye.